Mics, camera, action. Welcome to Takaro Kids, a weekly podcast that helps children, kids of all ages understand the events that shape the world around us. How have you been, Kiran? How was your week?
It's been good. There's been a lot happening, so just trying to keep track of all of it. We are going to be talking about something very, very specific, a specific part of the world. Iran is what we're going to be talking about, and been following that. So yeah, it's been a pretty busy week. What about you, Debbie? Did you do something else?
Yes, it's been a very important week because I live in Mumbai. I've mentioned this before, and I actually went and voted yesterday. And I'm
Ooh.
very proud of myself.
But what did you vote for? Because I didn't have to
So,
vote in Bangalore.
You didn't have to vote. Exactly, because this is a BMC election. BMC is the Brihan Mumbai Municipal Corporation election. Why is it
So is it
important?
MMC or BMC?
BMC. Brihan Mumbai is one word. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
So you know what we voted for? So basically, why you didn't have to vote and why I had to vote is because this is a very Mumbai-specific election where we were voting for the person who will be in charge of taking care of our city. So infrastructure, our roads, somebody who can help tackle all the pollution, and the AQI in the city has been quite bad. Somebody who can, tackle water supply issues in the city, the environment, a lot of things that affect our day-to-day lives. That's what we went out and voted for yesterday.
Nice. Okay. Good to know. And good job on voting. Everyone who's eligible to vote should vote. And that's the only way that we can make a difference in the city, the state, and the country that we live in. But talking about countries, there is one which is in a lot of turmoil right now, right?
Right. Yep. It is. We're going to travel up towards the north and towards the west of from where we are, from India. We are basically going to a place which was in the ancient world known as Persia and is today known as Iran.
Persia has such a rich history. There's so many stories. I think there are many movies around the whole Persian region. There was a game called Prince of Persia, which used to be
Yes.
really, really big when we were kids. I mean, I think it's making a comeback now, but Prince of Persia used to be huge. So yeah, it's a very, very influential region in world history.
And unfortunately, they've been in a lot of trouble recently. If you've been watching the news, if you're hearing about it at all, what's happening there is there have been widespread protests across the country. People, regular citizens, shopkeepers, the youth, women, they've all come out and they're all protesting. It's been getting quite violent over there because there've been severe crackdown by the government where they are trying to stop people from protesting. They're telling them to stop, go home, we don't want to hear you. But people are not giving up. So it's been quite a scary situation. The security forces have opened fire on the protesters. There have been mass arrests. There's been a lot of people who've just disappeared, who've been taken away, and put into jails. Not a good situation in Iran at all right now.
If you think about Iran, it's been kind of struggling for quite a bit, right? Like you said, it's the reason for sky high inflation. What's inflation, right? Where prices of food, of your essentials, everything from a biscuit to rice to everything just keeps going up and up. There are multiple reasons why. Maybe because there's not enough supply of it. Maybe because they're not able to import some of the things because not every country makes everything that people eat. So you have to import some of those things. So inflation actually shows a very real view of how well a country or an economy is doing. And with sky high inflation, it basically means that the country is struggling, right? And along with that, the currency of Iran is actually reducing in value as well. Now, what does that mean? I'm sure many of you have often heard your parents or, maybe colleagues kind of talk about, peers talk about things like, what is the rupee to the US dollar? And globally today, every single currency of every single country benchmarks their currency value to the dollar. And so Iran's currency is actually reducing quite significantly against that dollar. It's been really, really tough for the last few years where they've been facing a lot of sanctions from the US. Sanctions is basically where US has gone in and clamped down saying that, hey, Iran's oil exports will be charged much higher prices, like the trade tariffs that we've been talking about over the last few episodes and over the last 1 year, right? So all of that coming together, along with the fact that there are reports that even internally it was completely mismanaged, all the finances and infrastructure was not being developed. So all of that really, really reached that melting point where people could not take anymore, and that's why this whole unrest has kind of happened. Very, very often, think about it, most unrest, most times people get unhappy is when it has to do with their livelihood, with their economic situation, with their
Yeah.
finances. And so that's very often when people start getting up and really, really um, throwing a hissy fit about it, which they should.
And this is not the first time, Kiran. I mean, Iran was a beautiful country. It was a very modern country once upon a time, but things have changed over the years. In fact, some of the more recent protests, like in 2019, there were protests in Iran, which was called the "We Can't Afford Life" protest. Again, same thing that you were saying. The people could not
Yep.
afford basic things. Fuel prices went up, so workers, families, the poor and middle class people, they all went out and said, something's got to change. And even then, the government response was, we'll shut down the internet, we will crack down in a very harsh manner and teach people a lesson so they don't come out and protest. Then again, in 2022, Iran saw, and this one I was particularly interested in because this was the protest where a lot of women and young women, young
Yep.
girls came out. A lot of students came out and started protesting. They started cutting their hair in public. They started protesting about their freedom because Iran now is an Islamic republic, right? They are very strict about the way you need to lead your life, especially for women. You have to cover up. You cannot do certain things. You cannot go out at a certain time. There are a lot of restrictions on the movement and the activities of women. So a
Yep.
lot of young women had enough of this and they said, we are going to come out and protest. So that was also, again, there was a very bad backlash against them at that time as well.
It's actually interesting that you talked about that because we actually had Ayatollah Khomeini who came in, long back about 45 years ago and changed the entire governmental structure of Iran. It became a religious leader who leads the entire country. And so this religious leader, and at that point it was Ayatollah Khomeini, he was above the president, the government, the parliament, the courts, everything. He had the final say over everything, right? And then he obviously died in 1989, and now we actually have Ali Khamenei, who is the supreme leader of Iran. Still the same rules. He is still the main man. Everything goes with what he says. He has the final say on everything. And so it's not really a democracy. It's not like in India where we vote like you
Exactly.
did. You went and voted for even just your Mumbai municipal
Civic body.
area. Yeah. And here there is no real voting for who the leader is.
I mean, Iran has never been a democracy. It used to have a king before this. He was called
Correct.
the Shah of Iran.
Yeah.
And that's what, remember, I was saying that Iran used to be quite modern. Actually, it was because the Shah actually had a great relationship with the Western world. He was very friendly with the US, with Europe. Cities were very modern. But again, even then, people were not very happy with the way the monarchy was treating the poor. A lot of rich people were getting all the benefits and the poor were being left behind. And that's actually what pushed the people to, push out the monarchy and bring in Ayatollah Khomeini. He was supposed to be bringing a revolution into the country, change things completely. People felt that, we are becoming too modern and moving away from who we are and our religion. So then Khomeini came and said, okay, you know what? Religion is going to be the main tenet by which we live our lives, right? So it was never a democracy. It's just that he came in to change things. People were happy because he felt like, okay, finally we've got somebody who cares about us, cares about the poor. But now over the years, we have a second supreme leader in Khomeini. Very similar sounding names, guys, but they're two different people.
Ali Khamenei is there. Yeah.
Yes. Ali Husseini Khomeini, again, same kind of protests coming up again, where they're just saying like, hey, we don't have a say, and now things are just too strict. We have to do everything that the religious leader tells us to do. We can't do anything, as per our own wishes, right? So they're being controlled a lot. So that's the situation there in Iran. And Iran is very important.
It is very important because of the entire energy and, the geographical position of the country.
Oh,
but
yeah.
also what's interesting is, the US has been against Iran because Iran, and this is also very complicated. It goes back to that whole analogy that we keep bringing up, which is in a playground. So US is friends with Israel. Israel and Iran are against each other. So therefore, Iran is against US and US is against Iran. So there's a whole lot of this sort of complicated friendship and enemies that kind of happen within this region. So it's getting really, really complicated, right? And what I've heard, and which is interesting, you can never write this off, is just like how Donald Trump went into Venezuela, like we discussed the last week, took out Maduro and brought him back. Is there a possible military option that he is considering from an Iran perspective? And it is really, really important to think about this because Iran, like you said, is a very, very important country. It is an oil country. And Donald Trump has been very clear.
That is the key.
He's been very clear with Venezuela. He's going in there for the oil. So does this make it his next target? Who knows, right?
And you spoke about the geographical location. It's situated right in the middle. It's almost like that country. It's a big country which connects Europe, connects Africa to Asia. What was called the Middle East, basically. That's what it is. It's at the heart of it, right? And oil, like you said, great resource there. And also the other thing about Iran, which is interesting and a lot of countries are worried about, and a situation of political unrest is not good for the region, is because Iran is also a nuclear power, right? They have been developing their nuclear energy. They've been, of course, saying that we're doing this in order to, give people the benefits of, say, for example, electricity, right? But what Iran has also been doing is keeping everyone out. So no one really knows to what extent their abilities to harness nuclear power has gone. They have no idea. There are no watchdogs allowed. So everywhere in the world, if you have anything to do with nuclear power, if you have a nuclear plant, then you have watchdogs who come in and check. Okay, hey, what are you using it for? Where is it going to go? What are you doing to make sure that this place is safe? Iran has not allowed anyone in.
From a geographical perspective, it is actually one of the biggest countries in the region. It's bigger than Iraq. It's bigger than, Oman. It's way bigger than Israel, way bigger than even Pakistan.
I think it's close to Saudi Arabia in terms of size.
It's close to Saudi Arabia's size, exactly. And so it is a really large landmass as well. So, it's very, very important from a geopolitical perspective.
I find this country fascinating. What it used to be, if you look at pictures, you can do this actually. You can Google Iran. Look at what it used to be long, long ago. It was a very modern country.
Some of the most fashion-forward people were from Iran.
Exactly. I mean, women in Iran wore the most classy outfits, very modern, but today they are all covered up in hijabs, and that's the expected dress code there, right? How things have changed.
Actually, that's a good exercise for everyone who's listening to do. Go online, just look at Iran photos from early 1900s to Iran photos in early 2000s, right? And you will see that massive difference. It is time for the quiz question.
Yay! The quiz question this week. I mean, I love this one. And I think a lot of you might already know this. Did you know that Iran has a very, very strong India connection? Okay? 1,000 years ago, and we're talking about 1100 to 1300 years ago approximately, a group of people moved from Iran because of there was again some unrest in the region. People had to run away from the region because of this. So a group of people from Iran moved to India and settled here to form a very important Indian community, which you would have heard of. I'm not going to give you options here. Think about this, ask around. What is that community called?
A very, very easy answer. So that's why no options, huh? Okay,
No options.
go do that work and let's see who comes up with the right answer. Again, it's not the first person who sends us the answer. It's not the last person. It's not how many times you've sent the answer. You could be the winner who tells us what is the India connection? What is the group of people from Iran who moved to India many years ago? What is that community called? Last week, our question was about Trump's preferences of countries that he wants to take over, because he's now taken over Venezuela to a large extent. What is the other one that he's been talking about? We did say that he's interested in Iran as well, potentially, but he had made it very clear he wants to take over one other country. The options were Sri Lanka, New Zealand, Greenland, and Madagascar. It is amazing because I think a lot of you listen to our episodes very regularly because we've talked about this country before. And so many of you got it right. Greenland is the right answer.
This week's lucky winner is Vihan Kukreja. Congratulations, Vihan, on sending us the correct answer. Greenland it is. For this, you're going to get the Takaro Kids t-shirt and a gift certificate.
Congratulations for sending us the answer. So, look for our message and respond back with the details, and we'll send you all of this as soon as possible. If you answer this week's quiz question, send it to us on www.takarokids.com or send it over on Instagram as a direct message or as a comment to one of our posts. No problem. But get an adult to do that for you.
It's time for us to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.